what does workplace wellness look like in the future. So our presentation is really to sort of give some insights from experiences that we've had to date with customers through lockdown. Obviously, we had some experience pre-lockdown with what workplace wellness looks like pre the situation that we're all in. But as a sort of workspace goes, we all have a duty of care and responsibility to ourselves and to our colleagues in ensuring that we look after their physical or mental health, whether that's at home or in the corporate office. Thinking about what we need to consider to work productively, practically, and also connect and disconnect from our workplaces, wherever that might be. And that challenge has probably increased for many of us. So will we return to the businesses where we left them? Key question, still a little bit unsure as to what that might look like. This is pretty much a snapshot in time. So I'll just move through the slide deck and hopefully it works for me. So we're going to share some thoughts and insights on the future of workplace wellness. And there is no crystal ball for this. And we do appreciate that many people are in similar but same positions through what industry you represent. But the way we work, the way we're set up for work to support that probably needs to be enhanced, given that we're faced with invisible challenges at this moment in time from a health and safety point of view. So we've sent out a actually no, before I say that, we as a business, Aston James, we had to hit the pause button for a period of time to get our ducks in a row, and just really say, right, as a business that supports local companies in what they need to run efficiently and effectively, how do we best support those customers, clients, and new companies that approach us for help? Whilst we stayed open to a degree, we furloughed a lot of staff. We had to really look at how we operate, and we've tried to respond to that in the most time-effective manner. So by introducing more help for people working at home, school boxes for children, homeschooling, parents homeschooling, keeping the kids entertained and the parents sane wherever possible, and we're experiencing that ourselves as fathers, both myself and Craig. And we've focused on other areas as the time has turned to ensure that people feel that they've got a company that's listening, and we're learning through experience. So last week we sent out a snapshot questionnaire really to get a capture of time and thoughts, because we don't have all of the answers to what's going on right now, and by sharing the sort of community message that please help us in just getting an understanding of what your position is, so we can help you and maybe share that insight. So this survey will be available to still add to over the course of the next week, and then we'll be sharing that with before obviously confidentiality on who's who, but really just sharing some stats, and we're going to take you through some of those stats. So first question was really, when people hit the escape button to work from home, we did that ourselves and furlough, and then we had to furlough a few of the team because obviously the business decreased overnight. So people working, how are people working? This is obviously based on people who are currently working, and there's going to be these stats probably will shift as people come back into work. But how are people working now? A good proportion of people are working from home, and a mixture, a bit like ourselves in our operation, where it's not required to attend work, and for a while we weren't really allowed to because of the lockdown measures that were in place. If you have a laptop, you can work from home. If you have a PC, you can work from home. If you have a tablet, you can work from home. But not all applications and all roles and responsibilities can be done remotely. We've seen an increase in people asking for deliveries to their place of work after having quite a number of deliveries delivered to their place of home, just to keep them supplied with ink and toner and other things to sort of help their setup at home. But for the large part, most people hit the escape button who haven't already rehearsed working from home, because there's a good number of people that have probably been working from home for some time and have got that bit locked down for them. So they can work from home with no change to their normal routines. 65% of people going forwards believe that they would be rather working from home. 65% of people prefer to work from home rather than in the office, but 82% of companies believe they will adopt more home working. And I think that that will again increase as people come off of furlough and introduce more staff back to their roles and their responsibilities. So we've got a duty of care in being set up from home, but 33% of people are not fully set up from home, and 38% of people do not know how to self-check their posture and setup. How many times have we sort of sat in our chairs and perched on them? I mean, we know that from sitting at home and watching how the kids sit, sometimes watching TV, they get comfortable sitting uncomfortably, and that's obviously a habit that we take forward into our adult lives, in perching on the ends of chairs and not necessarily staying intact with the support that's there. 25% do not take regular breaks throughout the day, myself included in that. I mean, I eat al desco most days, but I have, through lockdown, I have pushed myself a little bit to get out and have a lunch break, but not taking as many breaks as we should for our own sort of well-being. There's lots of stats that Craig will go into in a moment or two that are quite staggering if we're not moving enough. And 13% at this moment in time, again based on a snapshot collation of information, bought new equipment for home workers. But I think, again, I referred to this before, that a lot of people just evacuated, took what they needed and made do. And I think the made do bit is paramount at the moment, where people will start to reconsider, reassess and self-check their setup to support their well-being. So what you can do, you can implement some small changes for greater productivity to help your wellness and look after your teams. So this was free stats taken pre-COVID, collated by one of our ergonomic partners, fellows, who are a leader in sort of equipment to help support you at home and at work. They commissioned a company called Loud House to do this research, and there's just free stats here that I'll just read out for you. And that's 1 in 3 workers suffer from ailments caused by working at a PC or laptop, and 60% claim that this affects their productivity and performance, obviously from a mental and a physical mental connection there. And then 32% have taken an average of 2 weeks off as a result. And this is pre-COVID, pre-majority of people working from home, or a mixture of working from home. And I think those stats will increase because there will be presenteeism and absenteeism issues that we are faced with moving forwards. So, as we say, for many of these things can be avoided, and there's 3 things that you can do to fuel your office performance and create a better place to work: move, protect, and break. Something that we've supported as a message through to our customers over the last few years. And again, this message is going to be one that I think has to hit home, literally hit home, when working from home. So I'm going to hand over to our furniture guru, Craig. You let me know when you're good to go, Craig, and I'll click the next slide.
Yeah, thank you very much, Darren. Hello, everybody. Hope you're enjoying Bio 2020. So today, I wanted to essentially just run through the best way to kind of look after yourself whilst you're working at your desk, whether that be, at home or, in the workplace. So I think, as you can see on the slide now, there are some really scary facts around not moving enough and not looking after yourself enough while you're working at your desk. So it's just prolonged sedentary behavior, as you can see, are 29% increased risk of early death is quite a frightening fact, and 50% of increased heart disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, an increased risk of 40% of obesity. So those facts really just kind of hit home how important it is really to just to make the effort to move and not stay sedentary all day. If we go on to the next slide, please, Darren. So the good thing is the industry recognizes this problem, and a lot of products have been brought in to help with this issue. So you may have seen sit and stand desks now appearing in your offices. If you've got the luxury of being able to use one, fantastic. Try and use it to the best of your ability. Just try and sort of just split that sitting and standing option up during the course of the morning and in the afternoon. It just promotes that blood flow, and essentially that's why we tend to get aches and things and pains where we're just not moving around enough. So the other thing is they've brought in innovative seating, so again just encouraging that overall movement, engaging the core. And then also exercise desks. So we've got, as you can see, treadmills and cycle machines that go with your desktop. We sold more of these during lockdown than we've ever sold. So I think people are realizing the importance more so now. And I think also because, you know, nobody can kind of go to the gym. So there is that aspect to it as well. We can go on to the next slide, please, Darren. So what we want to try and do is, you know, make sure that you recognize when you've got pain. So if you've got pain in your wrist or wherever it might be, identifying that, and then there are products to remedy those problems. Shameless plug, obviously available from Aston James. But we've got wrist supports, whether it's for the keyboard, for the mouse. There's products to support your lumbar area. And, you know, things like monitor risers and things, just to make sure you've got those your monitor at the right height, which is, you know, quite a critical thing. And a lot of people, most people I go and assess, don't have their screen set at the right height or the right distance, and that does contribute to pain. So if you could just move over to the next slide, please, Darren. So here you can see identifying pain, and this is where, you know, these ergonomic products will definitely assist you in helping correct these pains. So obviously lower back is quite a common pain that people tend to suffer with, and that's just down to essentially not having the right posture, the right setup. I'm sure there's some people watching this now that have probably worked off of their laptop on a sofa, and probably one of the worst things you can do, really. So that's definitely going to cause, you know, lower back pain, potentially neck pain. So again, just identifying where you've got those pains, and ideally trying to fix it before it becomes a pain. You've got the wrist pain in zone 2. So again, that would be like your wrist support. And then zone 3, you've got your neck pain, which that's going back to what I was saying about making sure you've got your screen at the right height. So just a little top tip, where you've got the bar along the top of the screen, you want that to be in line with your eye level. So that's essentially, you know, helps dictate where the height of your screen, and then also just making sure it's at arm's length and you can touch the screen with your fingertips when you're sat back in your chair. And that then gives you your distance side of things as well. And then, you know, the zone 4 is essentially just trying to make sure that you are taking those breaks and moving around. Go to the next slide, please, Darren. So I think we are all guilty, or if not, most of us are guilty of not taking, you know, enough breaks. Again, some staggering facts really on that side of things. But rather than sort of taking, you know, 20 minutes break, you know, every 3 hours, try and take, you know, 5 minutes every hour. I know if you don't take many breaks, that might seem like a lot of getting up and moving around, but that is what's recommended. You know, try and move around, you know, every sort of 60 minutes at your desk. You want to be moving around every, you know, for 5 minutes or so, just to, again, to promote that blood flow. So, you know, if you've got any questions, if you need any help making sure you're set up right, you know, please get in touch, and I'd be more than happy to help wherever possible.
Thanks, Craig. And I think it's probably fair to say that prevention is better than cure. So thanks for that, Craig. I'll just click to the next slide. So moving on to, so once we moved to an understand, we needed to move to an understanding of what social distancing was going to look like for our own business, and for our customers, and how our supply chain was going to help people in returning to some sort of level of work, or getting ready for some level of work. We asked the question within the survey, as we need to keep our social distance for the foreseeable future, what do you see as your biggest challenge? And 84% of respondents said that people not sticking to social distancing is a big concern around returning to work. And I think part of that, again, from our own experience, we've got 3 to 4 people in our building spread out with social distancing measures and kit and equipment to support their responsibility within our business. but it's easy to fall into a comfortable position with people you know and trust. So you can easily sort of encroach on someone's personal space without really realizing it, and it's accidental. Whereas when we're out walking or potentially shopping, although we've had different experiences of shopping, I'm sure, people walking down the street give people a wide berth. But I think in our workplaces, where it's a known area or a trusted space, then you fall back into probably ordinary historical habits. So the default mode, of comfort comes back in, whereas there is that sort of level of social distancing required for the foreseeable future. And 1 in 3 businesses, this was an interesting one for me, 1 in 3 businesses will not be implementing staggering start and finish times to help with social distancing. I think that, again, that depends on the industry. It depends on how people work today and how people will choose to work, whether that's from home, a mixture of the two, or will get back to their workplace and just have to set up their office environment differently to respect that social distancing and obviously protect people from the risk of spreading the disease. Nobody wants a second wave, but there is, again, no crystal ball as and when that might happen, but it's likely to. If we ease off too quickly, which appears to be happening in some ways. Stuck on the slide. Ooh. And so yeah, and really we've to build confidence, we've also we're helping people equip themselves with the required products such as hand sanitization. There's a government support link which we'll post into the chat, which gives some guidance around getting your workplace getting back to work safely. And as part of that, the government sort of guidance states that there should be hand sanitization in multiple locations to ensure that people have access to that outside of washrooms. So as part of our sort of 3rd stage of our assistance support program, we want to make sure that there is enough PPE around cleanliness and returning to work. But there's a third of people who express concern in that, because in their own environment they have control over their hygiene standards. Obviously, the standards vary dependent on the person, but there's a responsibility of business and individuals to ensure that their own areas are clean and that they hand sanitize and ensure that the spread of the virus is limited. 48% would still rather meet face to face. That was an interesting stat, but I think that given that the technology is there, as proven today with bio being online, there's a good chunk of people that will be happy to continue to meet online, saving time, travel, the environment, being responsible. Sometimes travel isn't necessary. I think that now that we can work like this, we will probably continue to work like this. So another challenge is flagged by the survey, which again, we're happy to share these comments. Again, we won't name people, but these are comments that we're happy to share. And I think a lot of people on screen today, the eyes that are sort of watching the screen and maybe watch this again, keeping the team culture, mental health, working from home, managing people's movements around workplace and break periods, interaction with clients and teams. I know that there's a level of disconnect when working from home, depending on how that team is managed and how that person connects with the team working remotely. Social distancing on public transport. We've got a couple of people that use public transport and are continuing to work from home at this moment in time, and possibly will do indefinitely. Keeping everything as clean as possible, minimizing risk of infection, and then getting used to the new normal, whatever that is to people in their lives and in their workplace, wherever that could be, and how we can run live events, so that maybe we get back to seeing your wonderful faces and having the opportunity of seeing each other face to face with not so much worry.